Welcome, everybody, back to the discussion of Falcon and Winter Soldier. This is Press Play again, and I am making this really dramatic for no reason.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, sometimes like when you say "let's go" and you like count down from 3, it feels like I need to be really dramatic. So that's usually why I end up saying something dumb. But hey, what's up? It's Bailey. I got Matt with us and Omar again back with us.
Excited to be here.
The boy. We're here to discuss the finale, which is sad.
Can you believe it? Jesus.
I can't because I feel like we literally just started talking about this show.
That's what 6 episodes will do to you. It's too quick.
I know. God, I'm such a bad host. What was the name of this episode?
The world.
I bet you I can find it.
It's
Give me
the
2
thing.
seconds.
You know what it is? It's the thing that the flag
One
smashers
world,
keep saying.
people.
Yeah, there you go.
One world.
One world, one people.
Honestly, out there, anybody listening to this, does it make you think of the Canes logo? Like slogan? Because it makes me.
What is the cane? Isn't it something about dogs?
It's like one love.
Oh, okay. Kind of, yeah. Now that you fucking mentioned it. Jesus.
So this...
I'm positive that that's what the director intended
one world, one people.
To invoke.
It always makes me think of that.
Oh, okay. God.
So yeah, we're here to discuss One World, One People. And I really want to know how y'all feel about. I want to know how y'all feel about the show as a whole after the finale and also the finale. But before we get to that, I want to make sure everybody out there knows that you can listen to us on any almost any podcast service. That'd be Spotify, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, and Apple Podcasts. I almost forgot that one.
That big one.
Rate us. Tell us you like us. Tell us you don't, but still give us 5 stars. Either way, we'll be happy. You can also leave comments, questions, concerns. Tell us what we're saying is right. Tell us what we're saying is wrong. Just, I don't know, subscribe to us. Be a part of this team. And you can always find us on social media. On Twitter @AgainPress and Instagram @PressPlayAgain. We've been posting really fun things. Omar is really good at posting shit. So you guys go in and interact and we'll all comment and like everything y'all say because we like everyone out there, you know? And we'll be posting videos mostly on Wednesdays and Thursdays. What they'll be, that's a great question.
That's for you to decide.
We're going to keep you on your toes for now. But as of today, this will be our last discussion of the Falcon and Winter Soldier. And that's a sad thing to say because I've really enjoyed hanging out with Sam and Buck. You know, they've been really fun.
And
they
Zemo.
have.
Oh, God, and Zemo. Oh, I'd hang out with him every day.
Yeah.
Well, you can't because he's in fucking jail.
I'd go visit.
Spoiler.
No, we already knew that, right? I don't know.
Oh, did we? I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, I haven't recorded with you guys in 2 episodes.
That's right. So. I think the last one that you were on, we didn't know that yet.
Yeah, no, we know that now. So yeah, we can dive into it. Let's get these first little short reactions y'all have for this episode and the season in a whole after it. I'd like to know. Omar, we'll start with you because you're back.
Let's do it. Yes, I am back with you guys. So not to knock WandaVision anyway, because I absolutely loved it, but I think WandaVision served as a bridge, right? It gapped what happened, what we saw in Endgame to the next phase, whereas this was kind of its own thing. I felt like this was a movie. It was an it was an MCU movie straight up. Like if you take the first episode and make everything in between like into like an hour and a half, and then you take the last episode, it was a fucking movie. The way it started was great. The way it ended was great. That last episode, literally straight out of the MCU, a movie. I super enjoyed it. I thought everything they were going for was really cool. I kind of had a hunch. I think we talked about this before the show even started, that it was gonna kind of be its own thing. And of course, they tie in a couple of things, right? Like you obviously see where a couple of the characters are heading towards and everything. But the fact that they end the last episode with them and Nola like having
Dude, I loved that.
That's awesome.
Shout out to our hometown, but like,
yeah, for real, man.
Did y'all like Bucky's fucking like Oreo cake that he walked in with? I saw people on Twitter like roasting him, like Bucky showed up to this party in New Orleans with a fucking like Rouse's
he, like, stopped
Oreo
at Rouse's, yeah.
But that just shows that like how close to detail they're like really trying to
Yeah, you
focus on
see
because like
the boiled shrimp and the corn, and you're
yeah,
immediately
it's
like,
just
"Oh, we're
things
in New
like that,
Orleans."
man. It's just things like that really mean a lot to us fans because it's like it shows us that they care. And it's like, okay, this is a 6 episode show. They don't have to go out their way to make it great, but they
Mhm.
did. They gave us something we all wanted. They gave us a dope ass Falcon that ends up being Captain America. And as you know, they've really focused on numerous times. This is not the Black Captain America. This is Captain America. And you know, going forward in the MCU, like I absolutely want to see more of them. I have no idea, you know, if we're gonna have a season two with these guys, or if they're just gonna start, you know, kind of incorporating them in the movies. But fuck, like this show has got me so hyped for what's to come with these two characters and just everything in the MCU. Even though I don't think it really meant to come off as once again a gap or anything like that to the next phase, but I'm here for it. I love everything they did. I love how they ended things, and yeah, I'm a huge fan. So
Sweet, sweet. How'd you feel, Matt?
Yeah, I love this episode. Like the episode, especially on its own, I thought was like so much. It was so much fun. Like the entire first like third of it is just so much nonstop action. It was so much fun to watch, and then it just wraps everything up so well. Um, I mean, this literally was the story of Sam Wilson becoming Captain America in a way that I don't think any of us really expected. Like for it to deal with this much of like a deep, like it talking about the shield in a way that we've never really talked about it when it like comes to race and stuff was like such a deep thing for the show to get into, and it handled it so well. And I don't think we ever could have really seen it coming that way, that they were going to really like handle it in such a great way. And the weirdest thing to me is the villains in the show. Like it ends up being where there's just it's like two mediocre villains, and that sucks because John Walker is set up as an awesome villain, and I think that we're gonna get more of that down the line. But there's this strange disconnect when we leave the last episode, the after credit scene of him like in a rage making the shield, and then we jump into this episode and he walks in there like he's ready to fuck people up, and then he has more of the, you know, he realizes maybe he makes the decision, right? And I actually like that when he decides like to do the more Captain America thing and save the people, but and there's some unresolved stuff there inside of his head, I think, and I don't think he's necessarily just a good guy now, and I like that. But it was just weird for the show because now we're left with like two, like I said, mediocre villains. But I think the stuff with Sam especially was just done so well. Sam and Isaiah, like all of that was done so well that the villain stuff doesn't really bother me like it normally would. Because I just think this being his origin story to becoming Captain America was incredible. And like the second he flies in this episode in the new suit, like it's just
No,
it's so
save it. We're gonna talk about it.
okay.
I'm gonna
It's
talk
just
about that.
it's all of it is so hype, and I love it for that. I think all that stuff's done perfectly, and so I'm not saying the show was perfect. I'm not even saying the episode was perfect. But it's so easy to overlook some of that stuff because this to me is like a groundbreaking chapter in the MCU for what it accomplished with that, and I'm so excited going forward now because spoilers, he is Captain America, and we know whether we're getting. Y'all saw that we're getting a fourth Captain America movie now with him.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the future is bright because I agree with what Omar said too. Like this was. It didn't feel necessarily like I don't know, like it was leading us directly into the next thing. It was more like developing these characters and bringing them to where they need to be so we can get to the next story of the MCU. And I'm so excited.
well, I have a quick question. Do we know if have they like confirmed that a season 2 is definitely not happening then? Or are we just heading straight into Captain America 4?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's not a season
Okay.
2.
They've just heavily implied that most of these are going to be one-offs, but I don't think they've said they haven't ruled it out. So who knows? Who knows?
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm not as high on this episode as y'all are.
Really?
Honestly, I really like the content that's in it. Like I like certain people are developed, but I think everything just felt really really rushed in the end. Like I feel like they were doing so well with this show with like having really cool story beats and really cool episodes with really awesome action pieces, and then this last episode just felt like it was there to wrap every single story up like all at
I'm
one
really
time.
surprised.
It just
Actually.
really
I just don't get it. You
it
think?
kind of just took that's just the vibe I got from it. I feel
I
like
see what you're
just
saying.
everything was so quick, and that's what
It's
happens when you
definitely
do
quick.
episode, but that they introduced so many storylines in this show, and I don't think it can be wrapped up in 6 episodes. I think it should have been drawn out in more than 1 season, and if you're not gonna do that, then I do think it should have just been a movie.
Mhm.
But
I
that's
think
honestly just how I feel about the show as a whole. I still loved it and think it was great, but I do think it was rushed in the end, and I think there were some characters that didn't get as good of an ending as they should have gotten. And I'm not even just talking about Zemo, although yes, I'm talking about Zemo.
mainly
But I
Zemo.
also am talking about Bucky because I feel like although this was very centered around Falcon and or Sam, and I'm so happy it was, there was nothing really. I like Bucky like got was a better person, but that was it. Like there wasn't any other aspect of him that we really saw in this last episode. So I don't know. I
Uh,
just felt a little flat for me for a finale. That's all I mean by that. I don't think it was bad by any means. I was so hopeful for like so much more. And I wanted to see so much more with these characters. And I will say the John Walker thing kind of annoyed me because I he's such a badass villain. So I wanted to see him be
I
a
think he's
badass
going to be
villain.
though. I think
But
this
I
is
wanted to
planting the
see that in
seeds.
this show.
I know.
And so
It's
it's
so
hard though. It's exactly what you said. It's 6 episodes. You
but
know,
that's the
they
thing, like,
can't.
but then don't show him being a maniac at the end of the episode before this, and
Well, I
then
think this
he
was them
flips
teasing
like
him.
that.
You
Like
know?
he flipped so quick, and I just
Yeah.
find that
I
I
think
just think it was too
you know
fast.
what I really
Yeah.
think, and I could be totally wrong about this, but and Omar, you weren't here when we talked about this, but maybe you've read it. Did you know that Julia Louis Dreyfus, right? That's how you say her name. I always say her name.
Louis, Julia Louis Dreyfus.
Okay. She, you know who we're talking about? The chick from Seinfeld, whatever, like Val. Is
Are
that
you
what she
talking
goes
about
by
the
this?
Hydra lady?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, did you read how they it's like heavily rumored that she's in Black Widow, and we were supposed to already know who the fuck
Yeah,
she
yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah.
And I think that I mean she's some kind of double agent. Like she's her being involved with John Walker, I think, is going down a bad path, right? And I think if we'd already
Oh, for
seen
sure.
Black Widow, I think
Black
we'd
Widow,
have
yeah.
more like understanding of that right now. And I think that from the moment that he's talking to her last episode and then again at the end of this episode or the middle of this episode, whenever it was, like I think he would just feel more still like a villain than this episode where he kind of felt like he was going back towards being good or whatnot. I think that's kind of why he feels weird. But I mean, I agree. Like he doesn't. We go from him killing somebody with the shield and like that image of the bloody shield, right, to where like that almost feels like that should have been the end point if they're gonna just kind of get even darker from here with him. But I don't know. It's
I took
yeah, I
it as
just
he's just having side effects to
the serum.
the serum or whatever, and it's like it's mood swings. And the longer it's in his system, the worse he's going to get. And eventually, that's, I guess, what we're going to get either in season 2, which I guess is not happening, or Captain America 4, which at this point, I'm assuming he's in it. You know?
Yeah, he's
that's
got to
the
be.
thing. Like I don't think he. I guess there's just a part of me that does. I don't think he should be the big bad in a Captain America movie.
I don't
Like,
think I don't even know if he'd be the big bad or just like he's gonna be another.
I guess that's just the
moving piece
letdown
of
for
it.
me then. Like I just wanted to see
Yeah.
him be able to shine as a villain. And we got him as
Yeah.
a villain somewhat, but then he and Bucky team up.
I know.
And they
He
like
was-
high five when they're leaving somewhere.
Trust
It's
me,
like, this
it
is
was weird. It was very weird. It was weird even after that when they're kind of running through that like sewer or whatever, looking for Carly, and they're just kind
Yeah.
of like jogging through there together. And like this is a bit strange, because he was set up so well going out of last episode to really just kind of lose it in this one, right? And that's probably my least favorite thing about this episode for sure. But I like the weird like confliction that he has. I like where when you really think when he's got the chance to either save the van or go after Carly, like you think he's going to go and just go after Carly and he decides not to. That shows that like this guy is so twisted because he wants to be Captain America. He wants to be like this good thing, but he's going about it the total wrong way. And so like mentally him even making that decision there, I think is so fascinating. I think there's obviously more story to tell with John Walker, and it's hard to judge how well this plays out until we see it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying because I agree. I think that the back and forth with him and the tug of war that goes in his head is really cool. I think all the stuff with Julia is awesome and how she's kind of just like this, like you know how they have like the angel and the devil on your shoulder. She's just like the devil talking in his ear, and she's like,
Yeah.
"I'm gonna make sure you like really, really do me good, but but not like that kind of do me good, but
Oh
like
my
the
god.
do me good, like you're gonna be my little like errand boy, and I'm gonna get you to go kill and do everything for me. And I
Right.
think that's gonna be really cool when it plays out. Again, I just it even if Bucky was like slightly weary of being with him,
I
I
agree.
would have felt better about it. It's the fact that they were like so buddy buddy. I really didn't understand that.
Very
So
suspect.
that
I
was
agree.
the part that kind of I just was like, okay, whatever, this is fine.
Hmm.
Doesn't even matter because it gets completely overshadowed by the fact that we get this bomb ass entrance with Falcon in his new suit, which unfortunately got spoiled for me online. I
I
will
was gonna say,
say
if you didn't watch this
Twitter
episode
just
on
had it
Friday,
posting
well,
everywhere.
Disney Plus literally tweeted a picture of
Yeah.
it. So I was like, they're not
Yeah.
trying to hide this at all.
Exactly. So I saw the suit. It didn't really ruin it for me though, because it's seeing his like his Captain America entrance, like
Yeah.
where he just uses the shield to break through a window and then flies in and has his bomb ass suit. And then someone was like, "Who are you?" Or what did he say? What did that guy ask him? Where he was like, "I'm Captain America."
Something like, yeah, he's like, who the fuck are you? Like, I'm Captain America.
Yeah, on Disney
Um,
Plus, he's just like, "Who the fuck are you?"
no, yeah, I agree. His entrance was so badass, and like all the red flashing lights. Like, I feel like this whole thing was set up perfectly. Even though I agree, the context of it all is just kind of like, okay, the Flag Smashers are invading this like little convention for all the, you know what I mean? Like, it's not as cool as other MCU villains and villain plans
Yeah.
that we've seen before. But I think just watching this episode and it kind of playing out, I thought it was well done. I do think it's weird that we get his entrance as Captain America. It's super badass. And then really his first big fight is him again fighting this fucking dude from episode 1 again. And the dude from episode, I can't remember his name, but isn't he trying to like stall Sam like at that
Yeah.
point? Because that fight goes on for like 5 minutes and Sam's just talking, and it's like he's basically just stalling him, and it's a weird way to show like this badass entrance of Captain America. Like
Yeah.
it's after that where he starts going crazy and we get to see all his cool new powers and him using the wings with the shield and stuff. But that was kind of an interesting first 5 minutes to kind of just have him lull there, I
Introduce him.
thought. Yeah.
I
agree.
I don't know. I feel like I agree with that. I still think it was super cool. I think the most compelling part when you think of villains in this is the fact that we finally get like shown that Sharon is
The power
the
broker.
power broker, which
Chelsea
I do
Eagle?
think is weird that it ended up actually being her. I know that was like everyone's prediction, but when your prediction's true, it all of a sudden feels like it shouldn't be it. Does
I
that
don't know
make
how I feel
sense?
about that, to be honest. Like, I don't like it, but I don't not like it. I
Yeah.
guess
Yeah.
in my head, I had it stuck that she was gonna be pretty much like the new Black Widow and complement like,
She is. She's
um,
like evil Black Widow.
yeah. But I mean, if this turns out to be her doing it as like undercover, you
Like a
know,
Yeah.
double
like
agent.
it just kind of,
I
I don't know.
will say, you guys know, especially you two, y'all know, I love me a good anti-hero.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. It's
Mm-hmm.
anything about that, I'm on board. So there's a part of me that wants to give Sharon a chance. I want to be like,
Okay.
do some bad things. Show us you're a badass. Kill some people. And I'm gonna be like, okay, I can get behind her being a villain. I don't know how much of a villain. I don't know who she's talking to on the phone at the end either.
Yeah.
Where she's like, we've got the in.
Well,
I'm gonna be
What's the
behind the
guy?
scenes.
What's the guy we kept thinking was gonna pop up in WandaVision? Fucking
Ted.
Mephisto?
Memphis. I was about to say fucking
Memphis?
What were
Memphis.
you gonna say? Grizzlies, Jesus Christ. I'm fully behind if they're making her a villain, like straight up a villain.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Like fucking full force, have her kill people, have her fucking like okay, like I'm on board with that. But if you're gonna make her seem like she's bad and then ends up she's actually
It was a double agent
helping the
kinda thing,
fucking
yeah.
Avengers or whatever, I don't want that. Just
I don't
seems
think
kind
it
of
will be.
I really hope not. Yeah, I don't know.
There's a part of me that really just thinks like she's doing this because she's pissed off, and she's doing
Yeah.
this because she feels like she was betrayed by
Like
like
that. I'll take it.
America.
Yeah. I'll
So
take it.
if that happens and
By the
there's this
Accords.
big there's gonna be this big reveal at some point in some movie or show where Bucky and Sam find out that she was literally like a part of the reason they went through all of this. And that's gonna be a really awesome reveal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm hoping it doesn't get overshadowed or ruined by them finding out because they also know she's a double agent.
Right.
Yeah.
That would kind of take away from all
Exactly.
of it. So
Yeah, I
that's
feel
my
that.
point.
I'm hoping Marvel has the balls to just
I
let her
trust
be
them at this
evil.
point. Yeah. I think, man, we're in such like an interesting place with the MCU, especially with what we still have to come this year. Like with Black Widow, I think like you guys were saying, I think we're gonna see more with is it John Walker or John Waller? Because
John Waller.
Walker.
Add that to
John
the
Walker.
list. What did I keep? What
think
did I keep saying?
You
John
kept
Waller.
John Walter.
No, you can't.
Walter.
He kept saying
Yeah.
Walter.
Yeah, Walter Walker and
Jesus.
now Waller. I love it.
Jesus. But yeah, I think we're gonna maybe find out a bit more through Black Widow, like you said earlier. We still have Spider-Man 3, super fucking hyped. I think Loki's the only one really to where it's not gonna tie in with what's currently happening. I think it's gonna be a dope ass, cool ass show, but I think
Yeah,
it's
me
gonna
too.
really I think that's really gonna be its own thing, like entirely its own thing. I think we might get a few cool cameos and a few Easter eggs, obviously, because it's the MCU at the end of the day. But I think besides that, everything else we're getting is gonna really feed into what's currently going on with the shows. And just like I said, I think we're in such a very very interesting place because I mean they could go so many ways, man. Like we have a new fucking Captain America, right?
Fuck
We're
yeah, we do.
obviously gonna like things are gonna fucking happen. Like this is where it starts. Like
And
this
he's
next
such
phase
a
starts
cool
with
Captain
him.
America.
He
Because
is
he's
man.
like,
He's
Incredible.
dope.
I mean,
he's cursing. He's saying like shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Uh,
dang, this is what we needed. A real Captain America. Not
Right.
that other Cap wasn't real. I
fuck that
loved
Steve
old Cap.
Rogers guy.
He's just old and
Steve
he can't
Rogers
do
is just
anything
like
anymore. But
Yeah.
his
Which-
speech he
He's on the
gives,
moon.
his like
Oh my
first
god.
Captain America speech he
I really
gives,
wanted to get into
where
that.
he's literally just like telling people exactly what needs to be said, not like letting any politics come into play, not saying like I'm a hero but I stay out of this, like my job is to save people. It's like he's really, because he's human and he's from, not that they're not human, but you know what I mean, like he has no superpowers.
He's from New Orleans.
He's from the South.
It's from New Orleans, god damn it.
He understands suffering and in a way a lot of people don't. And
Right.
so his voice can finally be heard so that maybe he can not only just save people physically, but save just like humanity and the mentality of people. And I think that was a beautiful moment to have as his first like Captain America speech, I think.
Right.
I do too.
Yeah.
I think it's like the last episode, his conversation with Isaiah, like set up this like huge moral dilemma of him even taking the shield, right? Because Isaiah makes the good point. He's like, they're never gonna let a black man be Captain America, and why would you want to be? Like, why? You'd be stupid to want to. And so Sam, he's showing us now, like he's doing it, but he's gonna be different, right? He's not coming in here to. He's got every reason to be pissed at certain people. There's a million reasons why. I mean, everything that was done to Isaiah, like back in the day, you know what I mean? Everything we know now about that. There was so much wrong done, and there's so much room for revenge and for just setting things right. But Sam, he says, like, he's here because he believes that we can be better, right? Like, that is so impactful because he's saying, like, none of the rest of it matters. Like, I'm not here to take sides. I'm here to make everybody's just got to be better. That's the only way we're going to get better. We're the only way we're going to get through this. And I just love how honest that speech was. I mean, he says something along the lines of, like, even like standing here, like I can feel the stares, like people stare, like on both sides, every side. Like every time I pick up the shield, people are gonna hate me for it and love me for it. And he just knows that there's, you know, he's not gonna get wrapped up in that, right? And even though he could easily and be justified in it, it just shows
just
that
something Marvel hasn't done before.
Exactly, and it shows that he's so different from Steve, but he's got that same quality of just like he's here to be good and to be better, like he said. And I think it's so cool. It showed us
purely good.
Yeah, to be purely good. That's exactly right. And it's, I don't know.
That's
I
the
love
thing.
it.
At the end of the day, that's the character of Captain America, right? A purely good character, a leader. But I really like how they don't have Sam Wilson living up to Steve Rogers, living up to
he's
Captain
his own
America.
person.
He's his own Captain America, and I'm super fucking excited for that. And I love, dude, the MCU, man. I mean, at this point, obviously, yeah, I really trust them. But besides that, they've always given us like really relatable. I'm not gonna say characters because I mean you've got like people like Iron Man or Thor or whatever. It's hard to, you can relate to them in some aspects, but it, you know, it reaches a point where you're like, okay, like I'm not a god from another fucking planet, whatever. But no, they've always given us relatable stories, right? You could always relate to the stories, but with this, you could tell, man, they've drawn so much inspiration from everything that happened in the last year. 2020
So much.
was
Yeah.
a fucking
I mean,
bad
everything
year
that
for everyone,
happens
really.
with Isaiah Bradley in the end, and even like Bucky when he goes and makes amends the way he does, like
Yeah,
I love
it's
that.
all
Yeah.
it was all so touching, and it was
Yeah.
so beautiful, like seeing Isaiah Bradley like see his memorial pretty much, and everything they did with that storyline, and also the actor that plays Isaiah
Yeah.
Bradley, I just think he's a
Killed it.
phenomenal
He killed
actor.
it.
I hope he's in more things because he's great.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I think I will say that even though I was saying that I think this episode was rushed, I do think the way they wrapped it up at the very end was very beautifully done. And even ending in Louisiana, like ending in New Orleans,
Yeah.
or I don't even think they were in New Orleans. I think they were like down
It's
on
not
the
filmed in
bayou.
New Orleans, but yeah. It's
But
where it's
yeah,
supposed to be.
I think it just ending there and like seeing everyone just being like a family
Yeah.
is also something really nice and something you don't see that
It's
often in the
wholesome. It's
MCU.
wholesome.
Yeah,
It
it
is.
was really good. I mean, you
It's
literally see Bucky like holding kids on his
I know.
arms, just hanging there.
yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. It was a good way to see them.
The Isaiah stuff at the end really was so well done, and it was so impactful to see that, right? And for us already to see how Sam's gonna be different from Steve, but just not even in a bad way, like, oh, Steve couldn't get this done, but they imply Steve never knew Isaiah existed, right? And so that's not even a knock on Steve or detriment to Steve, but it's more just like Sam being in this role of Captain America now, like he's going to get different things done, right? And the
Right.
first of it is like somebody like Isaiah who for 50 years just suffered and then got nothing, right? Like now, even though nothing can make up for that, like Sam did everything he could to memorialize that in some way. And he even says like, now America will never forget what you did for this country, right? And that's that's so impactful to see that like presented that way. And fuck,
It's awesome because it's not something that the MCU had to do, but they
no,
chose to
not
do
at
it,
all.
and they executed it perfectly, and they executed it in a way that you're white, she's white, I'm whatever, black, Hispanic, whatever, Asian. Like, at the end of the day, you're gonna understand the message they're bringing. This is not just for their
Well,
black audience or
it's
white
you
audience.
need to understand
Exactly.
this
It's for
message.
everyone,
Yeah,
and
it's
I
like
think that's what's so powerful about it.
it's like doing what the world needs to hear in general,
Right.
but they're doing it through a comic book show, which is insane to me. But it's
A
one of those
story everyone can
things.
relate to.
But it's one of those things where it's showing you you don't have a choice anymore. You need to understand
Mhm.
this. And
Right.
the best way to do that is to reach out to people who aren't even expecting it from these platforms, but they get it. And I think that is beautiful and hopefully will actually bring people together or make people think a little more.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they
at
chose
the
something
end of
so
the day,
iconic,
the
man.
show did what it needed to
Exactly.
freaking do.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And then
amazing.
the only thing we didn't touch too much on too is Bucky like finally going and telling his, I can't remember the guy's name, the old man that he's kind of friends with. And I like how they handle that, even though I would have liked to have seen more of it. But like the thing is, I never wanted that to resolve itself well. I didn't want it to be like he somehow forgives him,
yeah.
because that would just be so. I mean, obviously that could happen, but it seems so unrealistic, especially when the whole show didn't end up being about that, right? Like the last time we saw him really was episode 1. So because it kind of had to go wrap that up, I really like that it was him walking in, being kind of obviously nervous of telling him about it, and then it just kind of cuts away. You just see him leave, and you assume that things didn't go great, but he got it off his chest and told him the truth. And for all we know, the guy told him like, "Get the fuck out my house. I never want to see you again." And in my head, that's probably what happened, right? But it just shows that like that was a difficult thing that happened, and Bucky knows that, and he's, as much as he can be okay with it, but he has to accept that. And
right. I mean, that's what
that shows growth, like you said.
Yeah, like this show is meant to show growth.
Yeah.
I think we still have a lot to see from him, and if they end up doing season 2, I think it's going to focus on his growth. And if not, I think he's going to be a main part, obviously, of Captain America 4. Because I mean, this show really served as, sure, it was his growth was in it, yeah, but I mean, this was really,
Sam, 100%, right? Yeah. It'd be so much more.
That's Sam's story.
Yeah, and that's, I think if you're going to knock it for anything, it would be that, because it being called like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it's so much more about Sam. But that being said, it's 6 episodes. We've already talked about how that's not enough time to do hardly anything, and Sam's story's done perfectly. I wouldn't change anything about it. So I would much rather, like what you were getting at, Omar, if they did a second season and it was more of both of them, but the emphasis was maybe more on Bucky for season 2, because we got so much development for Sam at that point. That would be awesome. But I agree. Even
I don't
if it's
think
not,
we're getting a season 2. Guys.
I don't think we're getting a season 2.
I trust the MCU at this point.
I think in some form, though, obviously there's going to be more to come with Bucky. But whether it's season 2, whether it's in the next Captain America, who knows?
One last thing. Shout out to Zemo's butler, who just blew up people.
He got it done.
Zemo's doing all this from prison. Just cool. I'm not happy that people died, but I think it's dope. So
it was worth it. Yeah.
But yeah, so I think we can all say we pretty much enjoyed this show. Wouldn't you guys agree?
I agree. End of the day, just to like, because we have to do shit like this, what did y'all like more? And I think, Omar, you said you like this more than WandaVision, or were you just saying this had more of a like relatable? I couldn't remember what you were saying at the top.
I loved WandaVision, man. I loved everything about it. But I like my favorite character in the entire MCU is Captain America. I love all of his movies, all of his characters. I love how they use the fucking music from the third Captain America movie in this show. Like with Zemo, or even like in certain scenes, they use like the music that they played.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got to go with this, honestly. I mean, the message was so important.
What about you, Bailey?
I can't compare them. Like, I know you want me to.
That's a really good answer.
I think these
It is.
shows are so complete opposites from each other that it's almost impossible to compare.
Yeah, that
them.
is. They are. They're
They
so
have
different.
Just such completely different vibes, and they deal with two different completely different. Okay, Bailey. Just different types of mourning. Like, it's not the same feeling from each. So I personally just feel like I can't give an honest answer because I love both of them, and I think they're both great and touch on the things they were trying to touch on.
I was gonna say,
So
I think
that's my final answer.
I think I vibe more with the weirdness of WandaVision, because that show could do so much and just be bizarre with it. But then I think that the story this told was just a little more impressive to me. And even though, like, speaking of mourning, like everything that Wanda dealt with and in WandaVision was like incredibly. And both these characters now are just so elevated, right? Like they did such a good job with both of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just so shocked by the MCU tackling an issue this big and doing it so well. That yeah, I'm impressed, man. I'm impressed. I can't wait to see what Loki is.
Good. All right. Well, I can honestly say this was so fun. We're enjoying doing this. We're going to keep doing this with you guys with all these Marvel shows. Next up, Loki.
Which this one we have a longer break, right? It's like a month.
We do. So we're going to tell y'all what else we're doing when we find that out.
Yeah,
but right now I'm letting you guys know we're going to be doing the Loki discussions as well. So come back and join us for that. Until then, see you later, Flyboy.